guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm Sydney, if you guys don't know who I am. And today I'm going to discuss my autoimmune disease. I have literally gotten like thousands of comments and DMs on TikTok, on Instagram. So I figured I would just put it all in one place so that in case anybody else has any questions, I can just direct them towards this video and they can learn a little bit more about me. So I have an autoimmune disease and it's called Ankylosing Spondylitis, and I might have spelled, nope, I didn't spell it. I said it. I might have said it incorrectly, but like, it's okay. We're here for it, okay? I'm not a medical professional, so all of this is just information that I've learned over the last 6 years of having this disease. So if something's incorrect, I'm sorry in advance, but this is my information on it. We're gonna just go through what it is. So ankylosing spondylitis is, it's a form of arthritis and it's in my spine. So for me, my body is fighting itself and it's sending inflammation throughout my body, through my spine to all the different joints in my body, and it causes inflammation. For me, it really is in my spine a lot. My back hurts 99.9% of the time. And basically what's happening is my spine is slowly fusing together, and that sounds real scary, and it is a little bit scary, but also like, I'm fine. It's okay. It's not a terminal disease, which is great, but it is something that I will deal with for the rest of my life. So my current symptoms are, sorry, I have my notes here, but some of the symptoms in general of ankylosing spondylitis is pain in the back, pain radiating throughout your body, so all of your joints, because it is inflammation. And then something called brain fog, which is where your brain just like the neurons don't connect and like you just can't understand certain things. I was going through that a couple weeks ago and it is a doozy, let me just tell you that. You're like, you think you're completely normal and then all of a sudden you can't understand things and you're like, am I an alien? Like, what is happening in my body? Another thing is exhaustion. So being exhausted because your body is fighting so hard. So like being a normal human is not easy, but being a normal human with an autoimmune disease is like 10 times harder because you're trying to stay awake, you're trying to stay alive, you're trying to like, your body's trying to function, your brain's trying to function. So it's a lot of things that are going on that causes exhaustion, and it's a good night's sleep doesn't always fix it. You know, it is more than that. And then pain. So I'm in pain about 90% of the time. I don't really talk about my pain very often because my personal opinion is it doesn't really like solve the issue. You know, like talking about your pain only makes you think about your pain more. So I don't really talk about it a lot. When I do talk about it, it's really bad. Like when I talk about my pain, it's bad. I had this disease for 6 years and I've been officially diagnosed for 5. So I'm gonna talk to you about how it all started because I got a lot of questions about like how I noticed the pain, how I got diagnosed, stuff like that. So I was diagnosed back in 2016, but the pain started in 2015. So basically I got sick in Ireland, just like a common cold. And when I got back from Ireland in July of 2015, I started noticing pain in my right heel and it was making it really difficult to walk. So like if this is my foot, I would walk on my toe, or my toes. And it was really painful, and I was a resident advisor at the time, and we were on this thing called off-campus training, and we had to do a lot of walking, and my resident director, my boss, basically told me, she's like, you're walking weird, I think you should go get it checked out. And I was like, okay. So I went to a doctor in August of 2015, and he gave me this medication, it was prednisone, and he said, you're gonna be on this for the rest of your life, take 1 pill a day, and if you miss a dose, you're gonna feel like you got hit by a train, and just like shooed me out of the office. And I was like, okay, you're gonna give me a medication that I have to take for the rest of my life, but you're not gonna tell me what's wrong with me. Did not sit right with me. So the pain was in my foot, so I was like, okay, I'll go see a podiatrist. And I was like, hey, I'm having this pain, blah, blah, whatever. And he goes, okay, it sounds like plantar fasciitis, which made sense to me because it was in my heel and I knew-ish what plantar fasciitis was. So he put this like wrap thing on my foot and was like, come back if it doesn't feel better. I was like, okay. So the pain got worse and that little wrap thing didn't help at all. So I went back and he's like, okay, I think it's a severe case of plantar fasciitis. So we're gonna give you a shot. And when I tell you, this shot was the most painful thing that I've ever had in my entire life. I believe it was a cortisone shot, but like it could have been, I don't know. It was like, I've never given childbirth, but I've heard it's worse than but but I've heard it's worse than childbirth. So essentially they put a needle into your heel bone and like inject the medication, and like it's so painful. I literally will never ever get one ever again. Not worth the pain. And so then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna put you in a boot, you know, those like medical boots. And he goes, come back in like 2 weeks and we'll see how it's going. So he gave me crutches, and I was using crutches with the medical boots, and that's how it was for a couple weeks. And then the pain started in my left heel. So I went back to the podiatrist, and he goes, this is weird. So put me in 2 boots, and you can't really walk with 2 boots and crutches. It just doesn't work. So he gave me a knee scooter, or I think it's called a knee walker. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. You put your knee on it and you scoot with your other foot, so you're like scooting along. I was in college and I was a sight to see, let me just tell you that. Well then, in like October, the pain started in my hips and I could no longer scoot. Like I couldn't make my legs go because it was so painful. So then I was in a wheelchair. So I was in 2 boots in a wheelchair, and the podiatrist was like, I can't help you anymore. There's something else going on. So I went to a orthopedic surgeon. Orthopedic surgeon said, yes, it's plantar fasciitis. I'm gonna put you in a cast and it's gonna fix everything. And I was like, okay. So he cast my left foot, and I was in a boot on my right foot, and I'm still in a wheelchair. Well, then Thanksgiving came around and I was in so much pain that I was throwing up. And I like couldn't keep anything down. I couldn't keep medication down. I couldn't keep pain meds down. I couldn't keep anything down. So my mom took me to the hospital, and they're like, the only thing we can do for you is give you intravenous pain medication. I was like, that's fine. Just do that. Like that'll help me at least. So I stopped throwing up. The pain medication helped a little bit. And they ended up cutting off my cast because the cast holds your foot together, and that was hurting it worse because, spoiler alert, if you have arthritis, keeping your joints still doesn't help. It makes it worse. So they cut the cast off, and I went out to Thanksgiving dinner because we go out to Thanksgiving dinner every year. And I was a sight to see. I was sitting in my wheelchair and I'm just like falling asleep at the dinner table. It was funny. It was comical, I gotta tell you. So then a couple months later, I went to my general care physician, and I was like, hey, we gotta do something about this. And he goes, go see this one type of doctor. Can't remember what type of doctor it is, whatever. So I went to see the doctor, and he goes, yeah, you have this weird disease and I can't do anything about it. And I was like, okay, well, we're not gonna deal with that, doctor. So I only saw that doctor once. I don't even remember what he diagnosed me with, but I didn't accept it as a diagnosis. So then I called my doctor back again, and I was like, listen, I'm 19 years old. I cannot live this way for the rest of my life. Like, we have to figure this out. So he's like, okay, I'll figure something out. And while he was figuring something out, I once again had to go back to the hospital because I was like dying in pain. Like I thought my bones were breaking, and it was a whole big thing. So I went to the ER, and the only thing they could do for me again was pain medication, but it would at least like help out. So at the ER, one of the nurses goes, have you tried a rheumatologist? And I was like, no, I haven't. And she goes, I think you should go see a rheumatologist. You kind of seem like you have arthritis pain. And I was like, this is arthritis pain? What? And nobody in my life had thought it was arthritis pain because it was so severe. So then I went to my general care physician, and he was like, okay, let's get you in to see a rheumatologist. So he got me in to see one, and this rheumatologist pissed me off. So he goes, okay, I think you have this disease. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess so. What caused it? And he goes, oh, well, it's an STD. Like you had sex and it's an STD. And I was like, no, like I'm a virgin, so not possible. And he goes, no, is it because your mom's here? Is that why you want to say it? And I was like, no, I'm a virgin, and that's what it is. And he goes, no, you have an STD. And I was like, impossible. I'm a virgin. I've never had sex. I can't have an STD. And so whatever, he gave me like medications. And as my mom was rolling me out of the office, because I was in a wheelchair still, I looked at her and I was like, Mom, I don't have an STD. And she goes, I know, let's go see another doctor. So then my doctor was like, okay, well, go see my friend rheumatologist, because I guess doctors have like friends, whatever. So I went and saw this rheumatologist, and I'm not gonna say his name for privacy, but he, godsend, literal godsend. He took one look at me and he goes, yeah, you've got something going on. So he sent me to go get a full body scan, a full body bone scan, and x-rays of my spine and an MRI. So the full body scan, basically what happens is like they gave me a drink to drink and a shot of stuff that like lights my bones up. So when I went and got the scan, my bones, if they're healthy, it doesn't light up. But if they're not healthy, it lights up a color. So the technician, as soon as the scan like stops, he goes, "Oh my gosh." And technicians don't say things to you. Like they don't tell you what's wrong with what's wrong with you. They wait for the doctor to tell that. And I was like, "What is it?" And he goes, "I have never seen somebody's bones look this color." And I was like, "What?" So essentially my bones were all like, I think it was purple or whatever. And like, it was like just a sphere around all of my joints. It was awful. And so my doctor saw all my scans and was like, "Yeah, let's sit down and have a conversation." So after this conversation, after seeing all the things, he's like, you are very inflamed and you have something called ankylosing spondylitis. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Absolutely. My back hurts. It's killing me. It makes sense. Mine was such a weird way to get diagnosed because it started in my feet, but that's what I have. I have ankylosing spondylitis. And people in my life were like really confused as how I would just accept it, because a lot of them were like, "Oh, well, you would have been diagnosed a long time ago if you would have just accepted your disease." But it's like, no, those other diagnoses didn't make sense. This made sense. So that's why I accepted it so quickly. And my doctor was like, "It's gonna affect you for the rest of your life, but we're gonna handle it, we're gonna manage it, and it's gonna be okay." And I was like, okay, cool. Like, am I bummed that I have this disease that I'm gonna live with for the rest of my life? Absolutely. But was I super happy to finally have an answer that made sense? Yes, I was. So if you have any sort of like sickness or illness or autoimmune disease going on and you don't have a diagnosis, fight for it. It took me 11 months to get a diagnosis, but I fought for it and I got it, and I made doctors listen to me. Make doctors listen to you. If they're not listening to you, they're here for you, okay? If your doctor's not listening to you, one, go get a new doctor, or two, make them listen to you. Like, it's their job. It's their job to help you. You deserve to get help. Okay, so let's talk about medications. So the first medication that I went on was methotrexate and prednisone. I don't know exactly what they are, but prednisone is a steroid and it made me gain a lot of weight, like 40 pounds. So I took myself off of those medications because methotrexate caused stomach aches. Don't suggest that. If your doctors put you on medication, they put you on medication for a reason. I do not suggest taking yourself off medication, but I did. It's fine. So I started on Humira, and I started on those two medications and Humira. And Humira is a self-injectable. It's a biologic. So a biologic is essentially like, I believe it's some type of like organism, genetic organism, something, and it inhibits. It's a TNR. I think it inhibits something. I'm gonna have the definition here of what it is because I don't know exactly how to explain it because I'm not a doctor. But it basically like inhibits your body from receptors, and it helps your body not fight itself essentially. And there's like two different forms. There's like a human DNA and a rat DNA and whatever. It helps. Okay, so I started on Humira, and it's a self-injectable, and it gave me so much anxiety injecting myself. So I went to my doctor and I was like, I can't do it. So then he had me started on Remicade, which is a biologic, and it also is a form of chemo, it's not like big chemo where like you lose all your hair and stuff like that. It's like little chemo. So it made me really sick, but it helped. So I did it it was an infusion. I sat in a chair for 3 hours every 8 weeks, got the medicine infused, and it helped phenomenally. Like most of my like severe pain was gone, and it was just like the dull back pain and foot pain. But it helped a lot. And, but like I would get sick after, so I'd have to go home and sleep for the rest of the day. I couldn't really do anything because, I'd get sick, but it was fine. It was fine. I was here for it. And then the pandemic hit, and my doctor retired. First of all, my doctor retired, which by the way, that's just rude. Okay. Like doctors aren't supposed to retire until you die. Like that's my thought. Okay. Like I get it. Like his wife was like, it's time for you to retire. You're in your late 60s. It's time. And I respect her, but also wish he didn't retire because he was a great doctor. So when I got my new doctor, it was his like partner in the same building. It was fine. When I got my new doctor, he was like, okay, what medications are you on? And I was like, I haven't taken prednisone or methotrexate in years. And he goes, thanks for being honest with me. And I was like, yeah, my other doctor didn't like that I wasn't taking it. And so I told him I was taking it, but I wasn't. Anyways, don't lie to your doctors. It's fine. So then when the pandemic hit, the office stopped doing infusions and I had to go to the hospital, and I was just like, not here for that. So I switched medications, which if you have a medication that's working for you, don't switch medications. Don't do it. I regret it, but it's fine. It's fine. We're here. We're fine. So I switched back to Humira, which did not work. I went into a full-fledged 6-month flare-up. Like, I'm talking, I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. My hair was falling out. My scalp was really bad because I also have psoriasis. I also have psoriatic arthritis. That's a whole other story. But yeah, it was really bad. And so I finally saw my doctor and he goes, why didn't you come see me sooner? And I was like, well, because I didn't know. I thought this was just like, you know, I thought whatever. I thought it was going to pass, but it didn't pass. So then he's like, yeah, Humira's not working for you, so we're going to switch your medications. So now I'm on Cosentyx and it's working super well for me. I've been on it for like 2 months and it's working really well for me. The thing with like autoimmune diseases and all diseases, medications work differently for different people. So for me, Cosentyx works. For other people, Humira works. It is what it is. So the only thing is with my flare-up, I had really bad brain fog. So for like 6 weeks, I like couldn't comprehend things. Like I'm in grad school and I did an entire homework assignment incorrectly because I read the prompt 30 times and I was like, it's not computing. It's not computing. So brain fog is not great. And I also was going through a really bad exhaustion. Like I could not wake up in the mornings. I couldn't do it. I like couldn't get up. And like the motion of like rolling over or like sitting up, could not do it. So it was really bad. But thankfully I work for my dad and he's pretty understanding because he's lived with me for 6 years with this disease. So he's pretty understanding about it. Elimination diet. So a lot of doctors suggest with autoimmune diseases, you go through an elimination diet where you eliminate any inflammatory foods. You go paleo, gluten-free. A lot of people suggested it to me out of the kindness of their heart, but no. I tried it for like a month and I was just not a fan of it. I was already going through so much pain, like living with so much pain. And then I was depriving myself of my favorite foods. It was just like not for me and it wasn't helping enough. So I was like, no, we're just not gonna do that. So I really do survive off of medication and like stretching basically. How does it affect your daily life? So for me, I don't really let it affect my daily life. Like it does, obviously. Like I'm in pain 90% of the time. I just don't talk about it. I do have to implement rest days. I do schedule out rest days for myself. Like today is Sunday and it's a rest day. I'm doing absolutely nothing because my body needs more time to recover than normal people. And also there's like just some things I can't do. Like I will never go rock climbing. It hurts all of my joints. I don't really go on a lot of hikes because it hurts my joints. It does affect my daily life, but it also doesn't. I feel like we have one life to live, so you might as well live it to the fullest. And I think complaining about like my pain or stuff like that, like it just doesn't help me. So it does affect me and it doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. I hope I answered all of your questions. I know there was a lot more, but I wanted to be concise and give you all like a broad whatever. If you guys still have questions, go ahead and DM me on Instagram and I'll try and answer them. I'm not a doctor, remember, but if you are going through something, go seek out a doctor. There are doctors with the answers. They will help you if you can find the right one. And if you're a doctor, listen to your patients, okay? Listen to us. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and then if you have any questions, comment, and I'll try and comment back. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be putting out more content. And next week's video is going to be a lot more lighthearted, I promise. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.